Hello, humans. Hello, hello, hello. That's too many for you. That's too many. But I don't know why you deserve it. I'm only kidding. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Welcome to the Weekly Steelchair for another Weekly Steelchair podcast where it's me and Eilidh. Not me on my own, although there's been a fair few shows this week where I've been on my own. But this is a lot to get through. So, welcome to everybody, one and all. Before we even get into everything, please do smash a like on the video. Please subscribe as well. And check out all our content as well, the community tab and the short videos. Check out our gaming content as well, which is the My GM mode for the Weekly Steelchair. Check out all that. In the meantime, my co-host, how are you?
Yep, doing well. With Mike even. There we go. That's just typical. More technical issues today. Yeah, other than dealing with the WWE Network punting us out, but thankfully the video that we need for later is also on YouTube. So shout out to the greats over at YouTube there for all the horrible things that you're capable of for other creators. You're pretty all right for us as things stand, and we're able to access the stream today for the much anticipated watch along that we built at very least 2 months ago, and probably closer to 3 months ago now. It's been a while. We did promise it to people. But good evening to you all. We are hoping that we'll have about 2 hours of content for you tonight. We'll just see how we're going on. We'll see how close to that 10 o'clock wall we can get to. It's obviously SummerSlam Eve, so if everyone's excited for SummerSlam, do let us know. And if you're wondering what our takes are for SummerSlam, last week's Steelchair, I believe it was last Friday night again, we were on it, and we were also joined by Jamie, fantastic lad he is as well, and we chatted all things SummerSlam there. Tonight, we do not have much in the way of SummerSlam chat. It may come up in conversation. Feel free to drop questions below, but if you're wondering what our full take on SummerSlam as a preview is, that was last week's show. We're not doing well. Ready to get into what is a jam-packed show, as ever, for ourselves. But no, I'm good. How are you?
I'm not too bad. The week is over in terms of work. Now, the fun side of it is the wrestling podcast. We've done a few this week, of course. There is obviously the AEW Dynamite 200 stream. That's on the channel. We got the Monday Night Raw Watchalong. That was on Monday. That's on there. SummerSlam Watchalong is on Saturday. There's a lot, and obviously today I got my tickets for Impact, so I'm ready for Impact in October. So I'll have the Thursday off work, and I've taken the Friday off as well because I can. So that's even more fun. So plenty of wrestling, and also we've got Emergence and Multiverse within the space of 2 weeks. Shane Haste and Zack Sabre Jr. is confirmed for Multiverse 2 versus Moose and Eddie Edwards.
Who that other guy is?
Who? Shane Haste. He's part of TMDK. He's part of Zack Sabre Jr. stable in New Japan. He's had a very good G1.
His name from something else?
Yeah. Can't remember what it used to be, but he has changed it. But yeah, he's been having a good G1, to be fair. Although, speaking of G1, I'm currently winning when you look at predictions. I'm currently winning. Because my choice is completely undefeated. And the way it stands is going to stay that way. But of course, we have got a lot to get through. And I'm going to fire over my co-host to begin with a topic of her choice.
Where else can we begin, Reece? People who've seen the thumbnail, people who are seeing the thumbnail, we've spoken a few times, maybe just, 2, maybe 3, about a certain man from Chicago and what we think of him and his latest antics. And it's been a journey, wouldn't you say, Reece? It's been from, the idea that he was the victim to the idea that he was the perpetrator to the idea that he was a bit both.
Mm-hmm.
And now, with this brand split thing, we said one of them is going to be CM Punk's show, and it's turned out to be the case.
No issue with that at all.
Well, unfortunately, to feed CM Punk's ego, Collision, in my eyes, is a more complete wrestling product right now.
And that's completely fine by me.
It's the show that was set up as Phil Brooks' vanity project. And so much so that he's now got a title for it, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I actually like what they've done with it. I actually like exactly what they've done. It'll especially make what's to come later more explosive. So by all means, like I'm happy that they've decided to go with the Real World's Champion tagline. I actually like it. I like the fact that it's going to do more for talent on the roster as well. The likes of Ricky Starks. Yes, it's not an official world title. We know that. But I like the fact that they're going with it anyway, because Punk's making a general reminder that he never technically lost his world title, and he's technically right. The problem is, though, he did get stripped of the title well over a year ago. We know why. He was right to act the way he did, wrong the way of circumstance. However, he's declared himself the Real World's Champion. His first title defense is on Saturday. And I think he's got the right opponent. I like Ricky Starks. I think Ricky Starks is actually one of the best young talents in wrestling at the moment. And I like the fact he's changed up his gimmick slightly as well. So what makes more interest is where they go from here. And there's only one logical route, in my opinion. So, and I like the fact that Collision is actually a little bit more stronger on the wrestling match side in terms of what's being booked. I think Collision has been consistently good since the first show as well. I think it's consistently good.
Yeah, I mean, it's had weaker and stronger showings, but I mean, what I've seen of it, I'd definitely rather be watching Collision than Dynamite. You know, from like it's quite a considerable gulf in class in my eyes between those two shows.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine this logical route that you're talking about means colliding with MJF.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly it, James. And if you look at our short video on YouTube, which is about 2,000 views, which I actually did put up myself, Punk's done the exact same things what Ric Flair did in 1991. It's exactly that. The Real World's Champion. We all know Ric Flair was the Real World's Champion. Fuck Hulk Hogan. Fuck Hulk Hogan. I do like this clash between him and Ricky Starks. I do as well. I like the fact that Ricky Starks. This will stem from Ricky Starks pinning him with using the trunks. Like I like that as well. I like what they've done with it. But Punk is acting more heelish, as he should. MJF has gone into babyface mode, which is actually right anyway. There's only one logical thing that's going to make sure it's cemented, and that's what happens at All In. If they do it All In, we'll find out. But all in all, I like that Punk versus Starks is going in this manner, and I like the fact that Punk, he crossed out the E specifically on the title. He crossed it out, and I actually think it was right. We know that, yes, he's repaired relationships in a way, even though they'll not directly link together, although I do think Punk and Omega will link, and I think that will be a good match for AEW going forward eventually when they get to it. But scoring out the Elite is actually the smart thing to do, because what you can see is Dynamite is specifically the Elite versus whoever's involved with them. That's cool, no problem. Whereas Collision is CM Punk, FTR, the Guns, Jay White, who is absolutely fantastic anyway, Juice Robinson, who's on a different level. The women are, to a degree, are slightly better on Dynamite, on Collision, even though it's a question that needs to be asked tonight anyway. But I also look as well, the best heel in wrestling, Christian Cage, is also on Collision, and he's just an absolute joy to watch every time he's on the freaking mic.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about what that could suggest for how people are seeing the not so much tribalism, but it is a divide. There is a divide in AEW across those rosters. Now we have to say,
You're
Do you
right.
think there's a coincidence between the people who have ended up backing Punk, at least to the point that they'll go to the same show as him? Do you think there is a correlation between that and the people who didn't like the working with the elite?
I would assume so. I also referenced the fact that Ricky Starks has done an interview with Fightful, and he actually thanks CM Punk for the work he's done with him lately. And he's actually thanked him for helping him get into a stronger position on the card. So when I look at that, I'm thinking there's another prime example of people maybe that are just more suited for them to work with because they know they're actually going to get a sense of progression rather than a sense of fear that they might not even get further than where they are unless you're opposition like Pentagon Jr. or anyone in the Blackpool Combat Club or Ray Phoenix. Unless you're like that, where you're stronger in the card anyway, if you're a Ricky Starks or a Powerhouse Hobbs, you're better off in Collision. And I'm actually all right with that. It seems to be working for him. And it seems to be working in a way where you've got the split on both shows. It might not be a hard split, but it's definitely a click split. I think it's more of a click split.
Yeah.
Which is bad for an organization anyway.
Yeah, because that's where I was going. Obviously, if it is this divide that we're talking about, how does Tony manage it when it comes to pay-per-views? Bearing in mind that the people that fans are clamouring to see are on the show that is being outdrawn by NXT.
True. I think one
I know
thing
it's different nights, and I know that Collision's a later slot. I know all of that.
True.
But it doesn't change the fact that Collision has a really small audience comparatively. And I wonder if it's going to lead, and I suppose All In and especially All Out will answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be this case that fans start supporting a brand?
I think you could get that, and I wouldn't be surprised. I think it reminds me of the early 2000s, like Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah,
when they just done the original brand split. I look at it and I'm thinking, well, SmackDown dominated for a long time, then eventually Raw took over. So by that logic, SmackDown, which is more of the wrestling show, even though Dynamite is still heavily wrestling based, I think Collision has had more to it in terms of wrestling matches and general feuds as well. You can see there's a progression of feuds as well there. Dynamite has maybe one or two. I'd say Collision has about 3. When you look at it from that base, it looks like Collision is like the SmackDown of 2002 and Dynamite is the Raw of 2002. So you'd expect Collision to be, even though it's got lesser audience at the moment, you'd expect Collision to soar ahead for a while. And then eventually Dynamite, by logic, will make a few changes and then Dynamite will just go back to where it is, and that's ahead of Collision.
Yeah, soaring ahead's tricky to judge, though.
It is. No, it is. I agree.
They're not going to get the same numbers.
I think the problem for them though is I think they should be looking towards the numbers. I think that's something as well that doesn't help when you mention tribalism. That comes up with fans a lot about tribalism as well. Like you see, like there's a lot of memes going around where they couldn't draw the million or they couldn't get more than 950 this week, and then you've got the same ones are cheering that Raw and SmackDown got 3 million, and I'm like,
but who's the mastermind behind that thinking? Who was it?
Good point. It's Meltzer.
The Elite's friend, Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have done that. And I particularly hate that. As I've said before, I don't know. I said on Monday, funnily enough, on the Watchalong, I said that Raw and SmackDown this week, for example, could get 3 million views, but there's no guarantee that the show could actually be great. The show could be shit. Just like, for example, like our podcast, we could have 1,000 people watching. For example, we don't, but we appreciate anybody that watches anyway.
Get it shared. Let's make it happen.
We always do, of course, but my exact words were, we could have 1,000 people watching our audience on the podcast, but we could have a shit show. Like, it can happen. We can always have an off night, although me and you're very consistent when it comes to our shows.
Yeah, well,
But
I mean, you can come to the Crown Jewel watch along that we did.
That was 730.
We were just sort of watching along at 730. I wouldn't say that's the content people consistently come back for. So to bring that back to AEW, when it comes to All Out and All In, I suppose, but I mean, you know,
which are so close together.
Yeah, Jamie made a good point last week about how that show isn't going to be canon.
Yeah, that's right.
Based on the match that was announced that we will talk about, because it's an absolute joke.
No, I think the main event isn't a joke.
No. I'm talking about the match that was built on TalkSport of all things.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no issue with it.
Of all things to do on TalkSport, honestly.
At least
come on to that.
They got on the name. It was quite interesting as well because we had that conversation about who they're going to promote because it was a time of Money in the Bank, and obviously we had Rollins and Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Rollins and Lynch were on. We thought Simon Jordan.
And the names we said for TalkSport, the first two we said was CM Punk and Chris Jericho, which made more sense.
Yeah.
But then I didn't expect Jeff Jarrett to be out there, but I don't think Jeff Jarrett actually did a bad job promoting the show. I don't think he did a bad job, but I think what didn't help is I like Grado, but this isn't the Grado that it used to be. So I'm not particularly sure. The only thing I'm certain of is you're gonna get a pop for his song.
Like, is Grado particularly well known though?
On the indie scene in the UK, yeah. That's about it. Unless you watched TNA Impact in 2015, which I did. That's about it, really. I'm not sure if anyone else can realistically say.
I thought it was a curious choice. I thought, you got Jeff Jarrett. That's not a bad shout. It's certainly a long-term name. You'll even be getting people, WCW, Jeff Jarrett, Okay, what are you doing now?
What I would have liked, I don't know about you, but you look at the names that we've said before. Remember how we said this could be the last year of Sting and Dustin Rhodes? I said that it could have been great to have Dustin Rhodes versus Sting All In. We could have just had Sting versus Jeff Jarrett. Even though it's happened so many times, it's new to the UK. It's new to the UK audience in a live picture. It never happened live in WCW in the UK. It never happened live in the UK for Impact. But imagine that your biggest show, your first. Like the first match you announced before you even announce your world title main event, you announce Sting versus Jeff Jarrett. That would be a fucking amazing announcement, but they didn't. They must have something else in mind. But I think that would have been an amazing match if they had done that, or even two heels, Jarrett and Jarrett teaming with Chris Jericho versus Sting and Dustin Rhodes would have been a fantastic tag team throwback.
Yeah, and you get all those veteran names in there. So I mean, what do you think coming into All Out? Do you think Collision's going to get a fair shake?
I think Collision will. When you look at the roster, I mean, I think when you look at I think the Guns are a very good tag team. I like the fact that they're involved with. I like the fact they're involved with Juice Robinson. I like the fact they're involved with Jay White. I think Jay White's fantastic. I know you do as well. I like the fact that they're purely on Collision as well. I just get a different vibe on Collision. I like watching Dynamite. I like watching Raw and SmackDown, even though there's times where they can be genuinely shit. Same with Dynamite. Dynamite can be shit. I'm not going to be one-sided, but I'll categorically say this so far.
I feel.
I've yet to see, and I say this with honesty, I've yet to see a bad Collision show. I don't think Collision's been bad since it started.
Yeah, I don't think Collision's done a particularly bad show. I mean, I think week 2 was a little dull. Comparatively, I didn't really care for the 8-man,
but everything else has been absolutely exciting.
There's always been a match that's been worth watching. I mean, because even when you're
Swerve
not talking main event,
Swerve versus Tanahashi on the Go Home show to Forbidden Door was fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say Andrade and Matthews. That's been my standout match for Collision, other than of course. the tag match.
Oh yeah, I loved the that tag match. Was, even though we agreed it went on maybe 15 minutes longer, I think it should have been 45 minutes.
Yeah,
the fact it went
there was
nearly an
a
hour, it
risk
was
of giving
classic.
too much away, and this
I
is where
loved it.
it comes back to my all-out question.
We'll come to your comments in a minute, guys. We'll come to your comments in a minute. There's some great comments. And Billy.
Yeah, the tag belts are obviously retained by FTR over MJF and Adam Cole.
Which I hope they weren't.
But this comes after FTR and Bullet Club Gold had that war.
And that is one of the best tag matches all year.
Is it the other being WrestleMania. They turn round and go straight back to Dynamite talent?
Yeah, I think the only reason for that though is, and I think you'll agree, I think the only reason why they have to go straight away back to Dynamite talent is because they've still got the two shows. They're not full on split, so FTR still have to work with them. But at least they went for the right two. At least they went for an actual two that are actually currently involved in a storyline where you add the tag team title dynamic, even if they don't win it, it at least adds more to their main event. And will he or won't he, who is going to turn? I've said it since I predicted this match months ago that Adam Cole was going to turn heel. I've had that for so long, and I knew this match was going to happen at All In. I just saw it coming. I look at it and I'm thinking there is just something about it, and I like the fact that at least it was FTR as well. Like, at least got FTR at least done their job where they forced MJF's hand, where MJF sacrificed himself to take the shatter machine, even though it wasn't landed effectively. It was the way they still done it, where he forced it to change up the move and change the finish. I like that. That's why I like about MJF, but there's definitely something there between those two. And it's still funny that Roderick Strong, the genetic caw, as MJF calls him, which I thought was the funniest fucking thing all year. The fact that he's obviously referenced that, he's still selling that neck injury. He's still got a part to play at All In. He's still got a part to play.
Do you think it was a good thing to turn MJF face?
I think so. And the reason why I think it was right is arguably, and we can see, apart from MJF, their main guy is CM Punk. When you look at across that whole roster, there's a lot of great talent in there. Obviously, Jay White's a fantastic heel. Kenny Omega is, even though he gets babyface cheers, I think Kenny Omega is a tweener. The Young Bucks are all over the place. They can be babyface or heel. The Blackpool Combat Club are a solid heel faction. But I think you need a standalone. And obviously, Don Callis is just Don Callis. And he is nuclear heat. But when I look at it, I'm thinking they need a standalone heel for Collision if it's going to be a predominant based show. And I think they are gearing towards that, where if MJF is able to survive Adam Cole at All In, logical conclusion is the real world champion versus the AEW world champion, and they unify the titles once and for all, and you get Punk heel turn as well, which I think is best suited for CM Punk. Obviously, he'll still get cheered in Chicago, like Bret Hart got cheered in Canada. I think you'll get the same dynamic in AEW. I think you'll still get the same one. It's immune. Like, Punk is immune to boos in Chicago, but anywhere else, including Canada, he will get the fucking boos. And I think that's what they're aiming for. Even though he is their biggest star by a mile, I think exactly what they're gearing towards is Punk versus MJF, but it's babyface MJF versus heel Punk. And I would actually think it would be better than the first feud, even though their first feud was actually significantly good, especially the dog collar match. I thought that was a good culmination. But what do you think?
I think the MJF, and I've made no secret about it, I think the MJF title reign has been an absolute failure.
I think it was for quite a while, but I think I will give him this credit.
It's changed new fans in, and
Mhm.
I would go as far as to say this feud would not be changed at all if MJF wasn't world champion.
Possibly.
Because of everything they've done,
Mhm.
because of this whole bro angle that they've it's been seen many times. I would like to think that it's been heavily inspired by The Way, which could have been heavily inspired by so and so and such, and we could be going all the way back again. It's throwback stuff. It's easy enough to do. They've done some
Right.
certain creative things with it, gone some places I didn't think they would. Ultimately, MJF and Adam Cole didn't have to be about the world title at any point. MJF didn't need the world title at any point until they put him in the picture.
I agree.
Because MJF was getting that heat on his own. And sometimes doubling down on heat is great. Roman Reigns has the capability to be the biggest heel in wrestling. Give him what is essentially his Infinity Stones. Give him all of the power to make sure he can be booed. On the contrast, Dominic Mysterio, they gave him the North American title. I don't think he needs it because he gets enough heat on his own.
Some of that Dominic Mysterio heat is questionable though for me. It's a lot of ad. Some of it is genuine, but I find it quite interesting that he cannot seem to talk over the audience.
No,
he should still be talking. He can still talk over them. I think it's quite a shit way to do it.
I find it incredible that Dominic Mysterio's being credited with generating this sort of heat and being the first person in so and how long and things like that. It's like Elias did it. This is what happened to Elias. And Dominic Mysterio's managed to do it more consistently. That heat's off the Judgment Day. When you cross the bridge into AEW and talk about heel heat, and I said this to you with MJF, I see right through it, and I know the fans are on board. So, spoilers for anyone who didn't watch Great American Bash, Dominic Mysterio retained the North American title through Rhea Ripley.
Yep, no surprise.
That got booed quite heavily, because of course it would. But with Dominic Mysterio, I have less of a feeling that the fans are doing it because they want to. I think people genuinely don't like Dominic Mysterio for the decision that he made, for the fact that he turned on Ray and Edge, for the fact that he sided with this hated group. When you compare this to, Jungle Boy, for example, or Jack Perry as he is now, and he's just getting booed out the building for having done nothing. So when you look at MJF, who can generate that heel heat, he didn't need the title, but Tony panicked, and possibly, and again, this is just speculating, I wonder if MJF said, "I'll resign if you make me world champion."
It's possible. The fact that he did come back as the devil on the very same night that CM Punk regained the world title against Moxley. He won the Casino Battle Royale, obviously, as the Joker in the Joker card with his mask on. So it's possible.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've been speculating that one because I don't feel MJF needs the world title, and I feel like he absolutely should have dropped it.
Yeah,
to
he should have
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin or Bryan Danielson.
Or Bryan Danielson, if you can trust Bryan Danielson, because I know hindsight's 2020. But if they put the belt on Bryan Danielson, they'd have been looking for a new champion at Forbidden Door or after Forbidden Door.
Because he's not fully cleared to wrestle yet as well. So no, I agree.
He's not fully cleared to wrestle. He arguably wasn't fully cleared to wrestle in the first place, following his most recent return from concussion. And he's just not been the same. But that's where my concern would be, is MJF didn't need the world title for this feud to play out the way that it did. And I don't know how you feel about MJF's most recent turn on the mic.
I think his recent promos have actually been. I think his recent promos have been fine, and I say that just comfortably. I think they've been fine. They've not been spectacular, but when I look at the mic and who's on it, it's quite clear who the strongest promos are in AEW. When you look at who's actually consistently doing well on the mic, number one is always going to be CM Punk. CM Punk is just a natural on the mic. You could have no hearing, you could be partially blind, have an opportunity to at least read just a little bit, and you still know CM Punk is delivering a great promo. Because that's what the guy does. I think following CM Punk, I think who would be the next one? I think Don Callis, actually. I think Don Callis is the second best promo in AEW. And the fact as well, he does not just like Don, the heat he gets from live crowds, you can generally tell they hate him. But he actually will go for it regardless. He will still go for it over that crowd. He will not care. He will still talk. I think following Don Callis, my third choice might shock you. I would probably say Ruby Soho.
Oh.
I think Ruby Soho is actually one of the best promos in AEW.
Right. See, I was gonna.
And then I'd say Kenny Omega.
Oh.
And then my last
quite a big omission there.
And then my last one, obviously, is I think the other one I would still say though is Bryan Danielson. I think Bryan Danielson's still a fantastic promo.
Christian.
Here's the thing, right? And I'm going to say this: I cannot rank Christian. I just can't. And the reason I can't rank the guy is he's just in a different category. Like, it's hard to put him in any position. I think when you look at who's active wrestling, active wrestling, that's my top 5. But when you look at,
but Christian Cage is the active TNT champion, according to Christian Cage.
True. I think when you look at overall though, Christian and CM Punk, that's a great way to look at it. But I think when you look at active wrestling, that's probably my top 5.
Yeah,
that's my opinion though. That's my opinion, of course.
Yeah, I don't listen to enough of them talking because I mean, the minute I see certain people, the segment gets skipped. I don't even entertain it anymore. Yeah, do you think it was a wise idea for MJF to mention ADD? Because, right,
I kind of expected it. I kind of expected that. So
I'll tell you a true story here, right? I was at a mate's house, and I'd poured. You know, you get like the cartons of like chocolate milk. I'd poured it out onto. Yeah, exactly, James. I poured it out into the glass, and it's one of those things where that stuff's quite heavy, right?
Naturally, yes. Go on.
But the thing is, I was going to take the bottle, like the carton, home anyway. So I was like, okay, well, I'll put what I don't want back into the carton.
That's fair. Yeah.
Spilled some of it because it's very difficult to get things all the way back into the carton once it's out.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that way about NJF's ADD promo. I feel like, and the other thing, I mean, I think it was after the show, so I got less of a problem with the thing where he said, I mean, because I don't know if this was on the show or after it. He said WWE was the only game in town, and
after the show, yeah,
and thanks Tony Khan for making me richer than I could ever, quite a baby face heel promo.
Could have done it on the show for more maximum impact.
Yeah, I get that, but do you not feel the ADD? It's a bit like that chocolate milk going back into the carton. It's just like I'm always going to remember that now, the same way that I remember that he was picked on for being Jewish in school, the same way that I remember that he committed a felony on prom night.
And he's had coins through and all that stuff. Yeah, like
it's like The Simpsons. You got to keep retconning their ages and keep retconning their stories and everything. And it's the first time I've felt that way about someone, because when I compare it to like Randy Orton, I've never questioned one of Randy Orton's stories.
Well, I have one, but I have only ever questioned one, but yes, go on.
But when he goes on about, like, you know, I was a young wrestler and this happened. Now, he might be lying, but I feel like Randy Orton was legitimate for such a long time.
You wouldn't think it.
He can start to pull the wool over our eyes a little bit. He can start twisting the truth. MJF, for the last year or so, has been this weird blend of, I'm despicable, but the world hates me too. And I'm trying to pretend that I don't care. But I do. Because otherwise I wouldn't be telling you about it.
You can definitely tell he cares. He cares that much that he was getting emotional about having friends. Or he was getting cheered. And I'm like, if you weren't like that and you didn't care, you wouldn't be celebrating you had friends. You'd be questionable why you have friends in the first place.
I'm wondering if The Rock ever came out and had a promo like that. I mean, you know, and maybe he did. Maybe I missed it. But I can't imagine, like, is this just a case of it being different time?
I remember one Rock promo that stands out more than any. This was obviously the early Rock days where he became The Rock, and it was the promo where, sorry to put age on you, Billy, because you're an old bastard. But there's one for you.
Nice.
That's all right. He's got a child on the way, so I'm calling him an old bastard now. So congrats to you as well. The promo where he joins the Nation of Domination, and he says and he speaks about he had to join the Nation to express himself and find himself and who he wants to be in, and that's exactly what I'm getting. The same vibe where MJF knows his gimmick, he knows it, but he's still trying to find that last piece of the puzzle. And I'm not sure if he actually knows what the last piece in the puzzle is. And I think that's why he referenced the ADD, because it was exactly what he did with the CM Punk feud when he brought up the ADD. And I'm like, what is it you're trying to highlight? Are you trying to highlight your previous issues? Are you trying to highlight this is what you've gone through? Or are you trying physically to say, I'm trying to find who I am, but I realize I've went through so much trauma, I cannot go through it being hated anymore. I think he's desperately. I think he's desperately
as someone who genuinely, like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he's face. He doesn't know if he's heel.
And that's why I go back to that. Remember I don't know if you've seen it, but Chris Jericho did an interview. It was on a podcast.
I've probably heard about it. If it was a recent Chris Jericho interview, I tend to seek those out when I'm looking for something to be angry about.
I like Chris Jericho interviews, to be fair. They're always interesting. But there's one that Chris Jericho had. It might have been with Renee Paquette on her podcast. It might have been. I can't remember where it was. But he said that he told MJF that when he was going to return at Double or Nothing, when he won the Casino Battle Royale, he told him no matter what happens, he can do all the heel stuff he wants. He's going to be a babyface. So I think to this day still, MJF is so conflicted as a character that it's actually got to the point where, yes, he is doing something very interesting with Adam Cole that's actually wholesome, and I actually like what they're doing with Adam Cole. but they need to fully make a decision on him with his promo, with his choice of promo and how he acts. Either you tell him to stop doing all the heel stuff, or he turns on Adam Cole All In, which I don't think he's going to do anyway.
That would make Adam Cole look more idiotic than Jungle Boy did.
Exactly, and that's what shouldn't happen. Adam Cole has to be the heel. He has to turn on it, because MJF has already labelled him as best friend.
Yeah, but then I feel like as soon as MJF has concrete turned face, that is milk you can't put back in the carton.
I don't know what a babyface MJF is going to be like, because I'll say this:
he'll be over because he throws himself fully into things. I'm not lacking the guy, I'm not mocking the guy's effort. And
no, you're not.
These
You're
are
being,
things
you're
he
being
genuinely feels. Then great, fantastic. Get it out there. I'm just wondering, how can you keep being a heel if you're going to do these things like musical performances to get the crowd going? If your promos have those quick little insults, those smart little jabs that get the crowd popping, get the newsletters typing with one hand, if you catch my drift.
You know what I call it in a way, and I think you might agree. I call it the Seth Rollins. I call it the Seth Rollins effect.
Yeah, he was kind of like. I mean, it could be a branch of the Bullet Club effect, but I would say it's closer to Seth Rollins because, Seth Rollins was cool and then slowly chipped away at being cool until he's become what he is, which is a bit of a lame dad. But
another one you could say as well, another one you could theoretically say is Steve Austin when he was part of the Alliance during the invasion. It was so hard to boo the man because people did not want to boo Stone Cold, but he was doing stuff. It is really hard. Like that sort of person, like it's very hard to do. I don't know. I think MJF is another one. I think MJF is going to be like that, where it's going to be physically hard to boo him again if he becomes a babyface.
I've had the problem booing him since several months ago when I was just seeing through it all. I was just he said something about crack whores, and I was just seeing through it all from then. And it was everything building up to it as well because Le Dinner Debonair came back into my head. And he does the other musical number when he goes home, and he does this stupid thing and that stupid thing, and he did not Blood and Guts, the other one, Stadium Stampede. And it all just came back to me. I was like, you're just a gimmick and you don't know what you are. Like, and I don't know what you are. And in this story that, people have been really sort of into, I'm just like, okay, two things. One, get this world title off him. This is your chance. Because if he hasn't re-signed,
there's no one better right now
to back itself into the biggest corner any company can be in. Where the only logical step, as you've said, is to go MJF versus CM Punk.
Which would be a smart
company feel that CM Punk has alienated them. But if MJF retains, he could just disappear if he's not re-signed.
I mean, John Moxley said himself he could have been a SummerSlam in 2021? He said he could have been a SummerSlam as AEW World Champion. It says it all.
Yeah.
I think
it's a really difficult spot to be in, and they're going to make their own bed again and have to lie in it.
They need to be. I think the one thing as well, though, is he's been champion for 255 days now. 200. I'm sure it is 255 days. Somebody can fact check it for me. I'm sure it's 255.
And he's defended it 3 times?
Something like that. He's had a fair few. But I look at it and I'm thinking, when you think about MJF, like Darby Allin's right there. The fans love Darby Allin. They'd love to see him win the world title with a side headlock takeover, because it just makes sense. But then again, you've also got Adam Cole if he turns heel. You've got, do you run MJF versus Kenny Omega? It would seem understandable for Kenny Omega to be world champion, because then you could have Omega
MJF
versus CM
Kenny
Punk.
Omega then sets up Punk and Omega, which could
And
be
that
the
would
biggest growing match in AEW history.
And I guarantee that would be a great watch, because you've got no idea how that would go, but you physically
If
wouldn't.
the two agreed to work with each other, it could absolutely be one of the greatest matches of the modern era.
I think they would definitely for the fact that Kenny Omega, when when they announced the re-signing, Kenny Omega said like he wants to work with the best and he wants to work with the best styles going. When you look at CM Punk's style, it suits Kenny Omega. Like Kenny Omega can do the fast stuff if he has to, but when Kenny Omega works slow with somebody who is slower, like his match with Christian Cage, for example, on the first episode of Rampage, that was a slow match, and I haven't forgotten it. And obviously, Christian Cage wins the TNA World Title, but that sort of thing works for him. And I'm thinking, if it ends up being Omega versus CM Punk for the World Title, right there and then you've got the main man on Dynamite after MJF. Kenny Omega is obviously the main guy from the Elite, and you've got CM Punk who's the main man on Collision. You can then, in a way, whoever wins that, you could follow up with Jay White. Because
the other thing AEW could do, and would do if they were A, brave, and B, in any way interested in still making this look like competition.
And C, bold as fuck.
Yeah, I'm not saying... And obviously, like, but they've gone for Wembley. How much bolder can they be? Why don't they build all of that, as you're saying, and then if this Kenny and Punk match is that huge, and you look at the time scale, and you have to deal with MJF maybe leaving the company, go on Royal Rumble weekend.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, give it a go, big shot.
When you look at their big pay-per-views as well, Revolution, Double or Nothing, All In, Full Gear.
I feel like they need more.
I think they want to do what, funnily enough, I think they're doing what WWE did in the 80s, where WWE only had the Big Four plus Saturday Night's main event. The Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam plus Saturday Night's main event. I would be okay with AEW if they had, well, maybe 6 or 7, but they do their New Year's special, they do Grand Slam, they do Blood and Guts. I think they're only saving TV specials plus the 4 or 5 big pay-per-views. I think if they'd maybe made one of them a pay-per-view, like I think Grand Slam on its own could be a pay-per-view itself. Just call it Grand Slam instead of just calling it Dynamite Grand Slam.
Yeah.
And still run it at Asher Stadium or whatever it's called, like still or Arthur Stadium and all that. Just run
Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Arthur Ashe Stadium. You can still run it there as a big pay-per-view. Just make Arthur Ashe exclusive to Grand Slam. I've got no issue with it. I do agree with you though. I think it would be crazy to do that if they done it as a pay-per-view match. It would be incredible. And I think you would give that match time as well. I think CM Punk really would want to work with Kenny Omega. I think he less wants to. I don't think he wants to work with Hangman ever again. I don't think.
I think you know, for all the crap I've given CM Punk, I'm perfectly okay with him not wanting to work with Hangman ever again, because if someone is gonna, you know, try and double cross you and say things that weren't cleared and go off script and everything to make you look an arse on TV, I don't want to work with that fucking guy either.
Yeah, but I definitely think he would love to work with Kenny Omega, because it was Kenny Omega that he tried to reach out with first, and Kenny Omega was the first one confirmed by himself. He confirmed on Renee Paquette's fun enough on her podcast about the situation.
This is a match built through Renee Paquette's oral sessions.
Yeah, he did say though on that show that legally, they're not allowed to talk about it. Everybody knows this. They're not allowed to talk about it. But he has tried to reach out to CM Punk. And also CM Punk has tried to reach out to them, but lawyers got involved and told him to stop. I'm sorry, but even if lawyers are involved, they do not have to discuss the situation, but there's nothing wrong stopping them, putting them all in a room with legal, put them all in a room, just clear it out, apologise, part ways, and then you go, okay, now we can work towards Omega versus CM Punk, the biggest match in AEW history by a mile. Yeah. It would be the biggest match they've had, and I think topping that would be extremely impossible, unless you go something. It would be
crazy. Really difficult until if they were able to dislodge Okada, or if they managed to steal a huge name from WWE.
If they brought back Ibushi for one big massive title match, I wonder. Again, I look at other options, like you mentioned, New Japan, Okada. Okada versus Omega on AEW TV would generate all the New Japan viewing. Like, they already get that anyway. But that would be crazy to actually see it happen in North America. Like, I think it would. But another one is...
Speaking of New Japan then, you wanted to run down that G1 and how it's looking.
Absolutely. I want to bring up one comment first. Two comments first, sorry, from James. The first one is, that was awkward that Stone Cold the Alliance and the crowd still cheer for him. Yep. And same with Fyter Fest and Winter's Coming. Make them more like pay-per-views rather than combining it with Dynamite. Exactly. Winter's Coming.
They could have 7 or 8 pay-per-views a year, and then it wouldn't feel...
Billy was referencing Jarrett versus Grayson, I believe, at the time. I hope Billy's doing all right. He's been quiet ever since.
He might have been referencing the Old Duffers tag match you suggested.
If he did, then I will. Then he can forget his guest appearance.
Sting and Dustin versus Jericho and Jarrett.
True.
That might be what he's referring to, but only he can answer that one, and only you can give us the G1 standings we currently at the end of it. This is what happens with me with the G1. I always start following it, and then once again Western wrestling takes over.
Yeah, we're about to enter the final 2 nights of block matches. That's this weekend, Sunday especially. Looking forward to it. So we have undefeated Sanada. Sanada has won all of his matches thus far. He is the first man to qualify for the quarterfinals. We have 3 men that could potentially qualify with him. Kaito Kiyomiya, who is my tip. Hikuleo, and also in there, I believe, the other one is Yota Tsuji. Block B, naturally, Kazuchika Okada, despite his one loss to Will Ospreay. He lost clean to Ospreay for the first time in 8 years. He is top with a 5-1 coming into his final match, which is going to be incredible. Ospreay's in second place. Block C has been the most wild of them all. The likes of Evil, fuck him. David Finlay has been fantastic as well. Tamatonga in Block B has been wild. There's just something out of that's just... Either way, I'm still expecting Finlay to win that block. And then Block D, which is your block, because you've obviously went with ZSJ. ZSJ, of course, has lost a match. He lost to Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb obviously is leading the charge. The final match for Block D, the main event, is Tetsuya Naito versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. Naito wins, Naito qualifies. Now, I said on Wednesday on my Watchalong what I think is going to happen for Wrestle Kingdom. I said for Wrestle Kingdom, Sanada's still going to go the whole way and he's going to win the lot. But he's going to pick Naito for Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to drop the title to Naito. And then Naito's going to hold it. Naito will drop it to either one of the Reiwa Musketeers, which will then build to the G1 next year, which I think Ospreay will win. And I think it will be one of the Reiwa Musketeers versus Will Ospreay at G1, at Wrestle Kingdom 19, which is January the following year, 2025. That's exactly that's what I hope happens, because if it does, then I've already said I'll be calling receipts on New Japan for what they did to my last channel. But
That's some long-term booking from you there.
But I, as much as I would love Okada to go and win it and Okada regains the title, I'm going with brain over heart. I think Naito, because he guaranteed he would be at Wrestle Kingdom, I think they will give Naito some form of opportunity where either Naito wins the G1 or Naito is the hand-picked chosen opponent for Sanada by Sanada himself if Sanada wins the G1. Crazy though, because Okada's coming out this, even though Okada lost to Will Ospreay. Okada just came out the following night that he was on, and he just tore through. He just tore through Yoshihashi, and I'm like, you just don't win a bet against Okada. Like, I haven't, but then again, though, I picked Sanada. No, Sanada's won every match. Okada's lost one, so maybe I did jinx Okada. But I've been very impressed with Block C. Jeff Cobb's been amazing. Zack Sabre Jr. is just phenomenal. I'm surprised he lost a match. I thought he would have went through without losing as well. Although it seems to be Jeff Cobb again. Jeff Cobb's getting his unbeaten block matches. It has been genuinely very good for the G1 block matches this year. And there's been some great standout performances. Kaito Kiyomiya for me is the standout. Even though he's lost a few matches, he just delivers. He's so good.
Would you say there's been any match of the year contender coming out of the G1? At least so far?
Kenta versus Ospreay.
Right.
Kenta went full on 2003 Kenta mode, and he was unbelievable. I would say Okada versus Ospreay as well. I would say Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jeff Cobb is phenomenal to watch. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Naito. If you get a chance, watch it. That was fucking incredible. And then
I'll see if I can.
And I would also say my last one, I would have to say, is, you're not going to like the name, but I'm saying it anyway. I liked Shota Umino versus Kaito Kiyomiya. That was a very good match. It might not be match of the year or in that conversation, but in terms of the best G1 matches, it's one of my favourites. Just all round, I really like the work of both of them, especially at such a young age. I really like the fact they went all at each other. There was just something about it, and I think David Finlay's made a fan out of me. Like I coming into obviously I was not a fan, but past couple of months I have become a fan of David Finlay. I think David Finlay's got amazing potential to lead New Japan at some point. And I like what he's doing with Bullet Club War Dogs. He's fully convinced me. He honestly has fully convinced me. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Those are my favourite matches. But my favourite match though is Naito versus Ospreay. Out of all of them so far, that's my favourite. Second one is Kenta versus Ospreay. Then it's Okada versus Ospreay. And then, well, yeah, Shota versus Kaito. They're my favourite matches so far of G1.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's pretty good. The reason I bring up the match of the year and wrestler of the year conversations, well, we're in August. We can actually start properly.
We can.
Weighing up, eliminating people, maybe adding some late runners into the mix. The man I'm going to talk about isn't a late runner at all. He's actually been my pick for Wrestler of the Year for a couple of months now, having overtaken my beloved Gunther. You can have a guess.
I was going to say, you've already just said it, Gunther.
No, Gunther was there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do at SummerSlam, and maybe he'll take back top spot.
Is your wrestler of the year not on main WWE TV?
Not on main WWE TV. Correct.
Is your wrestler of the year Ilja Dragunov?
Ilya Dragunov, indeed. My word. It's not enough for this guy to go out on NXT and produce a classic with Braun Breaker. He then one-ups it at the Great American Bash with
Should have
an
won.
absolute slobber knocker, as JR would say, between himself and Carmelo Hayes. And
Should
yeah,
have won.
I
should've won.
thought he was gonna. I thought this was the time, put the belt on Ilya Dragunov. But no, Carmelo Hayes gutted it out and got the win. But I mean, this match was like putting a pot on a boil. You know, it
Mhm.
started slowly and really sort of methodical. You love a bit of chain in your wrestling. I know I do.
I like chain wrestling. Yes, I love chain wrestling. I
And
love
we were
mat
kind
wrestling.
of at the final stretch of this one, and it was getting ridiculous, but in a contest sort of way. You know,
Yes.
like you could believe what they were actually doing. And I mean, yeah, Ilya Dragunov gave it everything, but Carmelo Hayes just had a little bit more, and obviously Trick Williams with some form of assist. I thought that was maybe the one thing I didn't need to see in this match. I would rather someone came and got rid of Trick Williams, or Trick Williams was ejected earlier in the match.
He's
I
done it
get that
himself
he's
now. He's done it
yeah,
himself now.
I get these, like, he's a big part. He was a big part of his sort of
Now they've split.
presentation, and then, you know, out of nowhere they've decided, okay, that's not needed at all. And you're like, well, if you'd have done it a few weeks earlier, we could have had Hayes and Dragunov without Trick Williams. It probably
Oh
had a
yeah,
few more minutes in it. But yeah,
could have done.
this is right up there for me. This is right up there for a match of the year contender. I think Ilya Dragunov is. Yeah, I'm so glad he didn't get drafted to SmackDown. I'm so glad, because he would
I
have just
think
been lost in the mid card shuffle.
I agree. I agree. That's a great shout. That's a great shout.
So yeah, I mean, I just thought that was a handy little segue to a match of the year. And speaking of a match of the year, as we reach
Mine's
1 hour and
at the moment.
3 minutes or so.
Yep. I was gonna say what mine's is currently, but I'm liking
Well,
so far.
let's continue the match of the year conversation, and then we will go to a match of the year, arguably the match of the year from
WWE from 2018.
2018.
I would say match of the year for a WWE perspective, 100%. 100% from a WWE perspective, it's match of the year. No argument. Because what should have been match of the year should have been Styles versus Nakamura.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a shame that that's what happened. Anyway, what's your match of the year? And you could go from WWE perspective, or you could just say sort of overall. What would you say your pick for match of the year so far?
WWE, I actually agree with you. That is my WWE. That is my match of the year from WWE. Carmelo Hayes versus Dragunov.
It was just fantastic.
Yep. My overall match of the year, though, is, and I don't think anybody's going to argue with me until I see more of the G1. I think you're going to get some instant classic. I think you'll get more instant classics, including the final. My match of the year at the moment is, well, it's between two. It's hard. It's between two outside of WWE. It's a Jay White versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. I know a lot of people don't like it. I do. I like the fact they actually went more of the story based rather than actually classic Japanese wrestling of just beating the piss out of each other. I like the fact it was more story orientated. And the other one for me, funnily enough, does involve Jay White, it is that tag match.
Yeah,
That
fair
that
enough.
is the. I'm going to say this comfortably, and I'm saying it chest out. That's the best tag match all year. It was better than the WrestleMania main event for me by a mile, by a long mile.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, the WrestleMania main event had all the story implications, and there were mild story implications for Bullet Club Gold and FTR, but they were allowed to just focus on the in-ring craft. There wasn't like, you know,
And they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, there was no need to go for a proper, you know, this is a 2-year-long narrative that we're concluding here. This was just, you know, the tag match that you're speaking of was just excellent tag team wrestling. I think it's up there for me. It's
incredible.
and it's certainly the closest anything from AEW's getting to the list, other than the 4-way. I will admit the 4 Pillars 4-way was just a lot of fun. It was silly.
Yeah, I ate my words on that.
Silly
things. I ate my words. I ate my words on that. I was very concerned about will it be great or will it not be.
I was concerned as well. I didn't realize they were just going to go, oh well, we've got about 25 minutes. Let's just do everything we know. And it was actually quite a lot of fun. And
I love the callbacks to each one. For each one's specific mentor, I love the fact they did their own. I love the finisher.
Genius. So we will have a show where we talk about matches of the year, wrestlers of the year, that sort of idea. But that's not the thing directly for August. What is the thing for August, even though we build it back in May, is this watch-along. Now, my video was raring to go, so people that haven't got the match that we're doing, it's on. I
think she's cutting a bit. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it's not me. You still there, Eilidh? Just for the record, I am watching on the WWE Network, so it's a 38 minutes 14 second video. Eilidh's watching it from YouTube, so it's 10 seconds more. But we'll be starting from the match introductions. The match in question is Johnny Gargano versus Andrade, Cien, Almas, NXT TakeOver Philadelphia from 2018. If you want to watch it with us whilst we do the live commentary, you're more than welcome. But I agree with Eilidh, this was WWE's match of the year. The other match of the year, obviously, was Okada versus Omega. I'm hoping Eilidh's still there. She might be just busted on connection. Let me just ask her in the private chat. Oh, babe, she's disconnected, so she's resetting. Don't worry, she's on her way back. Have no fear, ladies and gentlemen. She will return. You're goddamn right. She's on her way back. She might just be having connection issues. Well, let's see. The current plan to open SummerSlam is Ricochet versus Logan Paul. So if you want to skip a little bit of that, then please do. I know I will, even though I'm on the watch along.
That would have been absolutely typical if, like, imagine that running joke if every time it's like, and we're about to get into it, and then just internet cuts me off. Oh man, fate doesn't want us to do this, but we're gonna stick the middle finger up at fate today. And we are going to progress into this. Now, I don't know how much of the sort of prelude to the match the stream would have actually caught. So very quickly, I believe this match was WWE's first 5-star match in quite a few years.
It was, yeah.
So this got people raving. It is also my good brother's favourite match, possibly of all time. It's certainly right up there. It's from one of his favourite takeovers of all time, back when NXT could be relied upon for putting
better
five
matches in
top
WWE.
class shows out every year. I think it might have only been 4 at this point, actually. 4
He's
or 5 good shows a year.
Yep, he's due to return soon, but we're not sure exactly what the plan is for him.
I feel like they're trying to tighten up the timing and have him and Ciampa
together. Well, it makes sense if you. It makes sense if you.
Right now.
Yeah, if you've got a heel Nakamura, which is absolutely wasted, with Bronson Reed seems to be the thing, then those two together versus DIY. But I hate the fact they turned Nakamura heel. Bunch of gimps.
If you've got a heel Nakamura, why not just go the whole hog and get a heel Styles as well?
Bullet Club Leader 2 and the original leader Chaos as a group, that would be fucking insane.
Sadly, they could be called like Gaijin or something. You know. Obviously, Nakamura is actually Japanese, but AJ Styles sort of one of the more popular Gaijins. So I don't know, they could call it something. Something cool, hopefully. Not just
Chaos
Styles.
Chaos Club or something.
Chaos Club would work. Yeah, Chaos. I was about to say Chaos Project, but that's fucking Serpentico and Luther, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Ugh, I hate that I know that. Anyway, so this match got people raving, and it's going to have us raving for the next 40 minutes as we talk about it. We'll be talking about the in-ring action, and much like a great commentary team, we'll also be talking insights. It's a bit work shoot if you watch the Ultimate Submission one that we did. A little bit of work, a little bit of shoot. And thankfully, we don't have to talk about, we don't even have to, talk about someone who's been involved in a huge scandal. So that's good too. We can dart right around that awkward conversation that we had to just avoid in the first one of these that we did. But Reece, is your feed set to go?
I am all ready to go. But I have one last question for you and the live audience, because he actually answered my question on his podcast. So shout out to Kurt Angle. He actually answered my question. It's actually my pinned tweet as well. So shout out to the greatest technical wrestler, the greatest pure technical wrestler. The greatest technical wrestler is obviously Bret Hart. The question is, Kurt Angle said this very openly, very honestly. He said if he never left WWE, he would be in the GOAT conversation. Kurt Angle for me will always be in that conversation because he is a legitimate GOAT. What about you? What do you think?
Kurt Angle was a little late for me. In terms of so I've spoken about it before about how, when you're young, you cheer for the good guy, you boo the bad guy. And Kurt Angle had a problem with Rey Mysterio. He also, before that, had a problem with Redacted. I like both of those wrestlers in ring, and I love Rey Mysterio. Just absolute GOAT status. Yeah, I mean, I think watching back, sort of retrospectively, there's very little Kurt Angle does wrong. You can rely on Kurt Angle for a great match. I think I would need to watch matches of his with a more varied group of opponents. And obviously, I remember him being a big deal in TNA when TNA mattered as well. So no, I think it's a conversation to have. It just depends how many people make your list. Because if it's a top 10, I don't think he does. If it's a top 20, he probably does for me.
He makes a top 10 for me. Roman Reigns doesn't even make a top 50. So for any Roman Reigns fans, there's my thoughts on him.
Depending on the metric, maybe this is a show to do. Maybe we need to do shows like this where we've got the 10 best pure wrestling ability, pure match quality, 10 best purely on the mic. And then maybe that's how we end up with an average of who overall is the best. But no, I think Kurt Angle could be in a GOAT conversation for a different generation. For me, he was on his way out. Randy Orton was on his way up. I'll always say that Randy Orton's better than Kurt Angle. I've just seen more of him.
Fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so anyway, I've got my feed on 0 minutes, 0 seconds.
Same. We've got that ridiculous announcer to listen to as well, so we can all shoot ourselves.
It's all right. So, well, I mean, you'll be listening to him. I've got my sound right the way down as I did last time.
I have a little bit of sound, but it will not come through my mic. It's just so I can.
So, for the next 40 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, do enjoy this live commentary of a match that is not live.
And I will count us. In fact, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to officially start play, but what I want you to do is just skip these shitty introductions.
Hey,
so I'm at
1 minute 30.
That might be enough for me. Let's have a
1
look.
minute 30 looks to be the referee ringing the bell.
Yes, I have that.
So if you're watching along at home, people, this is Gargano versus Almas. It's from TakeOver Philadelphia, and we are watching from 1 minute 30 seconds in.
Yes.
So we have skipped the introductions. We'll be going straight into the action, and we will also be answering any of your questions as they come up at the end of this. So we're going to try not to disrupt the flow. I know it would be so unlike us if we had a broken stream of things. Nothing ever breaks on the Steelchair. Not even that little rod that Edge uses to choke people with. So, are we ready to go?
I am indeed. And since my co-host chose this match, I was the 3-2-1 play for Benoit versus Angle. I'm going to throw over to my co-host for when we begin this match. So over to you for this one.
Go. So, 3, 2, 1, go.
We are underway here. Throwback to 2018 NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, as my co-host correctly said. This was the weekend of the Royal Rumble 2018, won by Shinsuke Nakamura.
It stole the entire weekend and nearly stole the entire year for WWE, of course. The first 5-star match they'd had since I should really know what the last one was, but Punk and Cena?
Yep, absolutely.
It came to me at last second there.
Yep, got collar and elbow tie up. There we go. Yeah, oh, heavy.
Collar and elbow.
Waist lock.
Real
Almas straight down.
Like, this is what I mean. So that Andrade and Matthews match I was talking about earlier, Andrade does really throw himself into things.
Yeah, that's why I love him. And obviously at ringside you've got Zelina Vega, who is actually relevant at this point. So here we go.
This was Zelina Vega at her best as well.
Mm-hmm. Zelina Vega being used like she wasn't Impact. This is exactly what she was doing here. So here we go. So we have an arm. We have an arm lock. We have an arm lock from Gargano. Rotating.
He's countered the hip lock into the arm lock there.
Almas is down to one knee. Back up. Almas is trying to counter. Almas is defending champion, for anyone asks.
Yes, Almas had gone from jobber to champion, defeating Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, just like Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal went from jobber to champion. Shocking.
Andrade's was a little more gradual than that.
Still relevant. They're both jobbers, but better. We have a side headlock takeover. Head scissor counter.
Oh,
there's another one. There's another headlock takeover.
Yeah. Oh, this time Gargano is up on the head scissors.
Yep. Oh, lovely there. Goes for headlock, misses, and now
exchange of headlocks, dodging each other.
And Gargano smiling. Of course, there's his wife, Candice LeRae, in the stands where she belongs.
Right in the front row. That's a bit harsh. I think Candice a good wrestler.
Nah, I like Candice LeRae. I like Candice LeRae. But at this point in time, she
The
wasn't
one blip on
particularly
her
there.
record working with Joey Ryan. Anyway, here we are.
I grip in hand, knuckle lock, headlock, Almas off the ropes. Gargano brought down from a shoulder tackle from Almas.
Very
Now Almas,
standard stuff. Nothing too risky early doors.
oh, lovely leapfrog. Oh, he's going for the DDT.
Whoa, straight for that hammerlock DDT. We know that's Andrade's finisher.
And again, second attempt. There we go. Gargano straight down for the submission.
Andrade's not hanging around. Andrade wants this match done.
Rightfully so. We know why. Because Gargano's got so much in the tank. Whereas
he's
Almas
rather
not
fairly called a kick out at two machine, Johnny Gargano. I think his matches are superb.
Yeah. Especially when they're with good opponents.
Much like Andrade right here. You know, this was peak Andrade. I hope that Collision allows this man to get back to this.
I agree. Kick to the gut. Gargano with a knee, taking the knee, sorry. Irish whip.
Andrade there, going for the kick to the gut.
Runs the ropes. Oh, clothesline ducked, push off the ropes, runs behind him. There's a Hurricane Rana. Now drop kick. Arm drag, patent. And there we go with an arm lock.
He's not going to win the match with moves like this, but he is just looking to wind him. He's just looking to not wind out his sails. He sees that this is a really aggressive Andrade that he's in there with, and he's just trying to choke and struggle and frustrate that aggression out of Andrade. Try to exhaust him a little bit, and that's what he's doing here. Because I mean, you know, we wouldn't expect Andrade to be tapping here, and obviously,
absolutely,
pinfalls here as well. Andrade making sure to always get that shoulder up. Gargano digs the knee into the joint of the elbow, and now pulls him back to his feet, going for another hip toss. It looked like, but Andrade gets him into the corner.
There's a knee and a forearm strike. Irish whip. Gargano again jumps the ropes, but this time Andrade's prepared. Oh, a heavy chop right on the nipple.
Yeah, he's got him with all of that one.
I love that front chop that he does. And there's a kick to the ribs. Take the air from Gargano, and Gargano, one, can't fly, and two, his grappling, his technical work is null and void.
Yeah, and smaller guys, well, you knock the wind out of them, they got less wind to get knocked out of them.
Absolutely, and there's a vicious knife edge chop from the champion.
Maybe learned it from the future father-in-law.
Quite possibly. Irish whip back into the turnbuckle with Johnny Gargano, gets the knees in a good position for a drop kick, and there's a mid-rope Hurricane Rana, and there's an over-the-top clothesline. Almas is out to the sidelines on his feet.
Coming next, Gargano's thinking of going to the sky.
And obviously Almas intercepts it really well. And there's the moonsault miss. Gargano hops the apron twice. There's a kick. Almas is walking away. Gargano's primed. Here it comes. Sent on. Missed. Shades.
Right on his back.
Shades of Samoa Joe when it comes to avoiding a top rope dive move or any form of dive. Almas does that really well.
That was not very tranquilo of Andrade, but now he's in the driving seat.
Absolutely. Back into the ring. There's Candice LeRae, of course, egging on her man. Of course, she just chucked egg at him instead. Cover. 1, 2. What happened to that referee, by the way? Is he still employed by WWE? I don't see him a lot these days.
I feel like he was released for being pro-Trump.
Really?
I think so, because he was at the Trump rally, wasn't he?
I can't remember.
Well, it's strict words, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was released for possible involvement in the January 6th thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Almas has control. Oh, there's a stiff forearm from Gargano. There's a second one. Almas forced him off the ropes. And Gargano's like, no, mate, there's try and kill him.
I'll go for. Not the kind you get these days where they'll throw 30 each and they won't sell one of them. Look at the way Andrade.
Dragon Sleeper. Dragon Sleeper.
Are taking it out of him, but now the Dragon Sleeper aiming to take everything out of Johnny Gargano, aiming to not only restrict the airways, but also once again just knock more fight out of him, because we know that Johnny Gargano's got a lot of fight, but everyone has their limits, and Andrade thinks that with that Dragon Sleeper he's maybe found them, but it is a near fall.
Yep, and now he's got a headlock. I love a Dragon Sleeper, especially I like Taker's version. I like Almas. I also like Sonada's Dragon Sleeper. Headlock.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that Edge could sort of evolve what he does into when he stops taking the bit out of the chair to do it.
Oh yeah, possibly. I think that'd be a good idea. He's now got like
a nice wrenching to have. Gargano fading.
Heavy wrenching from the champion. Locked in tight.
Look at Gargano just struggling. That arm is going. Danielson would be proud.
Bigger than a tree trunk.
Andrade's got that cinch in right now.
There we go. Now he's got a. You're not going to like the comparison, but it's similar to Moxley. It's the Bulldog headlock.
It is
version of it. It's exactly like that. Very strong.
Where have I seen that hold recently? It unfortunately, is that of John Moxley. I would imagine that Andrade would be able to choke Moxley out in real life as well. If the two had to have a Bulldog headlock face off.
I do like that Bulldog headlock. No matter who uses it, I do like it because it's so vicious.
You can see how tightly cinched in that is. Andrade's giving Gargano absolutely no room to breathe, but Gargano's looking to create for himself a few shots to the midriff. When it's been turned around, neck breaker, no. Gargano counters it, but that back not allowing him to pick him up. The back suplex.
Schoolboy Insta-Giri.
Insta-Giri, very nice there. And maybe that's giving Gargano a bit of separation. But can he afford to take the time to recover? Or does he need to get on Almas right now?
There's a knife edge chop reversal of the Irish whip. Almas goes for a splash over the top. Insa-Giri countered into a tree of woe position.
Oh, I think we know what's coming here. Many a luchador loves this move.
Double foot stomp missed.
Oh,
and there's a belly into turnbuckle. Using all the momentum of Almas running at him like a steam train. He gets flung into the crash zone.
Knows that has hurt the champion.
Charlotte Flair watching this going, great. Now I cannot get any of my lucha. I guess I'll have to invest in something else.
Gargano's getting up now. Andrade getting to his feet at the same time.
It's very slowly.
That lower back.
Andrade, up to his feet. There's a forearm shot. A second. Andrade responds with one of his own. Gargano hits back. Here comes a flurry of forearms. Shout to the forearm club.
The Danielson special, but will they at least sell them?
Clothesline.
Andrade is selling it.
Gargano just shoves.
When you sell a clothesline, you know what happens.
There we go. The champion is here. We come.
To the head. Andrade straight back up.
A left and a right. There's a clothesline again. Insa-Giri on the champion. Stuns him.
Gargano's just looking to do anything right now to turn the tide on this one.
Clothesline forearm up to the middle rope. And there is that STO from the mid rope. 1, 2. And a kick out. Almas holding his face. Zelina Vega, of course, as a great heel manager does, is pressing concern for her client, of course, which is the champion. Gargano is now back up to his feet.
Getting back to his feet, wondering what more will I have to do. Andrade hasn't really done here.
Kick to the gut. There's Tranquilo again, but Gargano slides under him. Forearm shot by the champion, running full speed.
And
there's
coming.
There's the middle rope spear. 2. He loves that springboard spear, but he only gets a 2 count.
It's such an opportunistic maneuver because whenever your opponent's even within sort of touching distance of the ropes or the apron, Gargano knows he can just launch himself like a projectile from a gun, and he will hit his target. And that's exactly what he's done there. Bullseye on Andrade Almas, and now Gargano running his way back over the corner.
Head scissor takedown. No. Face buster from the champion. Cover. 1, 2. Kick out from the challenger. Very good match. Very good so far.
Andrade pulls out often. You can understand the confusion.
Great shots of Zelina. Great shots from the cameraman of Zelina. Thank you. Here we go. Almas.
You're
it's going up. I'm just a great presenter. Here we go.
No one said you like Jerry Lawler. Can we pop that in its little file? Anyway, here's
I'm just double moonsault. Cover. 1, 2. Kick out again. I love that double moonsault that he does. Lands on his feet, then goes stuff this, bounces it. It's just perfect. Almas is one of the best to come out of NXT.
It reminds you when you rewatch a match like this. It reminds you how good he actually is.
Yeah, and why he deserved better.
When booking in both companies hasn't treated him right.
But at least now we're hoping the tides are turning. The forearms are being going at it.
Is he not younger than 30 at this point?
Yeah. What a spinning back elbow.
Future star material. That's an unbelievable back elbow.
Off the ropes again. Super kick. The world's most boring finish. 1, 2. Kick out by the champion. Clothesline, both men combined. There's the left arm clotheslines. Now 2 slaps, both down. Almade. Fucking hell. Andrade del Almas is now. That's how much this match is that good. Like, it's made me say his name twice.
Almade. I don't know who that is. It sounds like copyright failed. So you have to
But that's what you get. That's what this match does. Like, that's what a good match does. It makes you do it. I mean, look at Kevin Kelly. That's a great match. Sometimes gets names wrong. It's
very true. You're more pervy, Kevin Kelly.
I'm not. Zelina again on screen. Almas is now
going for the ropes towards the right hand side of the screen, and Gargano's going for the ones opposite the hard cam. Gargano instead struggles back to his feet, sort of limping on that leg, straight to a running position and straight into the boot of Almas.
Almas, there we go, goes for the kick, brought down, kick to the face.
Oh, that was a knee.
Almas up to the top. Is it going to be a Hurricane Rana or a Superplex? Well, there's a forearm anyway, so let's find out.
It could be either at this point.
Middle rope. He's got the hammer lock. He's going for the hammerlock DDT from the middle rope. Gargano's going to use his power. Slips underneath. Gargano's getting a couple of punches. There we go. Almas has grip of Gargano.
Gargano knew he had to get
kick. Super kick from the top rope. Almas looks like he's been shot.
His eyes sort of half closed there, sort of glazed over. This could be Gargano's chance.
I love that from Almas, what he done there. Gargano's gone up to the middle rope as well. Will we get a reverse Frankensteiner? No. Sunset flip, powerbomb countered, and then there's a double knee strike. Fucking beautiful. Again, missed it this time. Out the way, Gargano. Middle rope.
So nice, he had to do it twice, but it's cost him. It's so nice, you had to do it twice.
Face buster.
Apron spear into the DDT, the face buster, and now up and down.
1, 2, kick out.
Neck breaker, blockbuster type deal. That was creative. I don't quite know what to call that.
I would call it a blockbuster reverse DDT.
Yeah, it was an unbelievable exchange there between the two. Gargano caught in the corner, hit with that double knee. Andrade, so nice, had to do it twice. Proved to be an undoing. Gargano was on the apron, and then so nice he had to do it twice. Went for that spear again, and he was caught. And Andrade takes advantage, but can't take full advantage as both men take a moment to catch their breath. Gargano reaching for the apron. He wants a bit of reprieve from outside the ring. Andrade's joining him right there.
And this is where Andrade is his most dangerous, when he's on the outside of the ring apron. Forget in the ring, forget on the out on the floor. When Andrade's on the ring apron, you are fucked. And there's the hammerlock DDT. Is he going to land it? No. Gargano steps his foot inside the ring. There's a knee strike into a fireman's carry position. Death Valley driver.
Is it not
No.
refreshing to see a match where the finisher hasn't been hit yet? Because it's all about when the finisher's hit, it will be over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I hate multiple finishers in a match, I just like one match.
Yeah, like certain matches call for a second one, but we'd mastered it. This is the thing. This is one of these matches that does sit at the apex.
Apron DDT.
Move like that. The apron DDT from Johnny Gargano. The problem is with an apron DDT is, yes, your opponent's head hits the apron, so does your back.
Yeah.
Gargano's lower back was already causing in this match.
It was. Comment from James, just looking at matches lined up for Rampage, the one that stands out for me is Moxley and Claudio versus best friends in a parking lot fight. Yeah, that's one of them. The other one for me, of course, is Sky Blue.
That built out of the triple threat, hasn't it?
It did, which Trent Barretta actually won. Trent Barretta pinned Pentagon Jr. Which I found very surprising, considering the fact that Pentagon Jr. won the trios tag last week. I find it strange that they've traded the results.
Yeah, we'll see if there's going to be any such.
Everyone knows I love Pentagon Jr. on this channel. Everyone knows that. Here we go. He's going for the Gargano.
The Gargano escape.
That's it. Thank you. Couldn't remember the name of it. But Andrade's locked his hands together. But there we go. He's breaking it.
Instinct there from Andrade. Make sure if
Yep.
I've locked my hands, you can't lock mine in.
What a jawbreaker. Arm wringer applied. Forearm strike. A second one.
Gargano knows he can't be offering his arm.
Oh, there's a back elbow again. Clocks him clean. Almas, he's going for that
Back
double
in the
knee.
position for that knee again.
Zelina's telling him to go at full speed. Gargano up, clothesline, inside out on the champion.
Oh.
That was beautiful.
Gargano knows
Here we
this
go.
is his moment. Picks him up.
There's the missile.
The launcher.
Rolls over on his back. The champion is face down. The challenger has momentum. Zelina's got in the face. There's a drop kick.
And there's Zelina Vega with a distraction. That's what managers.
Hammerlock counter, small package. 1, 2, kick out. Oh, tease the super kick. Drop down with the super kick. Here comes the super kick now. Lands it.
Going for it.
Pin
Oh,
cover.
he's hit it.
1, 2, kick out. 2.9999, as many nines you can get. Probably more nines than Charlotte Flair's had in her match, because she's never had a 9 in her entire career.
Gargano's lip is busted open from, I mean, it could be a knee, it could be an elbow. I think it would be the elbow strike.
I would say the elbow as well, because fucking Andrade comes out with an elbow like he wants to kill you. It's more vicious. The Judas effect used to be vicious. Andrade's elbow is immediately vicious.
Look at that, it's his nose as well.
Yeah.
Gargano looks to the heavens. Tell me what I need to do to put this man away.
Absolutely. I like the simplicity. There's one thing I've always liked about Almas as well. The simplicity of his gear.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. He's never felt the need to be so overstated. In fact,
Fancy.
to be fair, when he was overstated, he was a jobber. You know, he was coming out in like Hawaiian style shirts and getting beat in less than a minute. It
Yeah,
was when
I
he
just.
pulled that back, he got Zelina pulled down
Oh,
the
what
corner.
a pull down.
Oh, speaking of in the corner, Gargano in a really tricky place.
I
We
do love
obviously
the
know
fact
he
that
will go on to have children, but this can't have helped.
I do love though that he does wear a black mask similar to the villain from Batman. Like I am a Batman fan. I love Black Mask. I love the fact that Almas wears a mask bang on the same. Oh, he's going for it on the
Oh,
apron. He's going for the double foot
this could
stomp.
end his career.
Bang! Oh,
Oh,
power and glory. Not the tag team that flopped, but the power and glory of a double foot stomp where the challenger looks like he shat his pants because he's dead, and he's just flung Gargano into the ring
who was Power and
apron.
Glory?
American top. They were the part of the inner circle. No, the power of not inner circle. They were part of No, they were because they were with Chris Jericho. We're not America's top teamers. I can't remember,
Oh,
but
right, Proud and Powerful.
that's the one.
I was
Still
like,
power glory of piss.
yeah, they might have been Power
You
and Glory. That's right. Anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about a different type of glory.
Gargano, Almas,
Championship glory.
Almas, double meteor knee strike, and a pin cover, double leg.
That's going to be that.
And it's a kick out. The challenger's not dead. The
Gargano,
challenger's alive.
so much effort into kicking out there that he threw himself up onto his own knees and back down onto his own face. I don't even think he knows how he kicked out of that, Johnny Gargano.
No idea. When you look at the shot of Gargano's lips as well, it looks like he's wearing lipstick. It's actually quite funny. Like the blood looks like lipstick.
Certainly does, but I can assure you it won't taste like it.
That's for damn sure. And also, I just want to say as well, best wishes, my man. Thanks for tuning in. Always good seeing you, James. Always good to see you. And
Yeah,
of course,
catch you next time, James.
another great thing to say about this match as well is obviously Green Shirt Guy is front row.
He's been there for ages. He gets to everything.
I'd like to know how he does that because there's no way he's loaded like that. There's no way. It's just not possible.
He must work for them, surely.
Might do. There's a slap from Almas to the face of Gargano. Slapped the taste out of his mouth, as an American commentator would say.
Gargano going to the referee, look, I'm fine. And
Almas is shaking.
make sure that he's not.
He's shaking his head as well. There's a strike to the face.
Oh!
There's another one. Almas is staggering. But Gargano just can't stay on his feet.
Give in. You'll have to run him over to beat him.
There's another one. Gargano now stays on his feet.
Under the car at 2.
Slaps the champion.
Fun fact, there's a Scotland shirt visible on the hard cam.
It is. There's a chop to the chest of Gargano, and there's a super kick.
Oh!
Gargano he's still... Oh! Poison Rana!
That Poison Rana. Can he capitalise?
The champion is... Look at that face.
Johnny Gargano,
Look at that face.
for the first time, he's going to become an NXT champion.
Countered. But there it is.
Top, swung round. The
Gargano. Locked in. It's locked in.
He looks over to Zelina Vega. This is smart from Gargano. Keep your eyes on Zelina. You don't know what she's going to do.
Almas is fighting this, but Gargano's got it locked in.
Of course, Almas is fighting this. He's held this title since War Games.
Yep. There's Zelina on the side. Zelina grabs the champion.
Zelina's gone round. Gargano lost sight of Zelina. And our official Drake Works looking at Zelina.
Zelina doing the right thing as well. She breaks up the hold.
And not being ejected yet.
Absolutely. Hammerlock DDT locked in. But Gargano gets him in, but he's still got the grip. Over the top rope. Back body drop. Gargano running full speed. Tope Suicida from the back of the head. The champion goes in the barricade. Now he's back in the ring. There's Zelina. Hurricane Rana off the steel steps.
Expert timing from Zelina Vega.
Perfect timing. And now Almas, the champion, has grip of his challenger and brings him back into the ring. Hammerlock DDT. Is he going for it? Yes, he is. He's got the position.
Really going to be it for Johnny Gargano.
The challenger's dead. The challenger's dead. 1, 2. He's alive. He's still in it. Kick out. Zelina's mouth is wide open. Close it.
So are the fans' mouths. They're wide open too. And Andrade's mouth is wide open. But I mean, that seems to be more of just a desperate cry from Andrade. You know, we spoke about Gargano looking to the heavens. Andrade's doing similar. He's like, what do I have to do? Why won't Johnny Gargano stay down? That is the question right now.
Absolutely. And you had the worst fan chant as well in that as well. The yes chant. Zelina's up to the ring apron, arguing with the referee. Gargano outside calling.
The argument's probably going on for a little too long.
Here comes Zelina's. Zelina's coming for Gargano. Here she comes. But there's Candice LeRae. Spear! Let the chicks fight.
Candice LeRae unloaded on Zelina Vega. Zelina breaks herself free. She's not interested in a fight with Candice LeRae. Zelina Vega was not on the match card for a fight tonight. Candice LeRae not even at ringside, but now she is.
The blonde versus the dark hair. Here we go. The blonde is chasing.
It looks like we've just got the competitors left. No manager in sight here. And we have Gargano in the ring either, as he struggles to his feet again, using the bottom rope to pull himself back into the ring. Now putting a hand on the middle rope, trying to get a bit more of a vertical base, because, I mean, if he's lying prone on the apron, as you've already said, Andrade, very dangerous out there.
Absolutely. Almas has grip of the challenger by the hair. Enziguri on the champion. Springboard DDT.
Oh, he's got it.
1, 2. Kick out by Almas.
I don't think he's calling that one final beat yet, but he's got him back into the Gargano escape.
Arms locked, wrenching at the champion's head.
Of course, the champion would go on to become one final beat after he defeated Tommaso Ciampa with it.
Oh, foot on the ropes. Releases at 4.
Gargano really, really did not want to let that go, but knew what would happen if he didn't. And he can't afford to throw this opportunity away. A chance for Johnny Gargano to etch his name into NXT history as far as being a singles champion goes.
Absolutely. He held the North American title first, didn't he? Or did he hold the North American title second? Right after the tag titles. I can't remember what order.
Good question.
Either way, we know what Gargano became anyway, because there was no surprise. He became the first Triple Crown. Oh, Almas throws him into the ring post.
Gargano was North American champion when he was defending it against Damian Priest, right? So that would have been after this.
Yep. He's up against the post. Here comes Almas, full speed. Knee strike, Gargano's head off the post. The challenger's just sitting there. He's like, it was at this point he knew he fucked up.
I think Gargano's in a different world right now.
I think he's went back.
Lipstick isn't looking so great now.
Gargano's gone back in time and he's playing SmackDown versus Raw 2007. He's in a backstage brawl.
Gargano's meeting his elders.
Yep.
Great Works wants to call this one off. That's either sweat or tears from Gargano, and I don't think he'd be able to tell you which one it is. He's just relieved it's not piss.
Almas is going for the headlock takeover. Headlock TDD, sorry, for my takeover on the top rope. He has Gargano
Almost
positioned
even
on the
seen
top rope.
Almas
There
take
it
over.
is. Head.
This is what
Head.
put Drew McIntyre away and won him the title. And it's
2.
going to be what
It's
keeps
over.
it around the waist of
What a match.
El Idolo.
The champion retains in an epic contest. An epic 24-minute match that deserves every. Actually, no, went longer than that.
No?
I was going to say 34 minutes, sorry, but we skipped past a minute 30. So you're actually looking at 30. You're looking at about 32 minutes. Sorry, my
No,
apologies.
for 30 minutes of action there with two guys that have just that is a classic. I
beautiful
didn't
title.
remember it being this good.
Yep, and there's Zelina.
This is genuinely a match I would put in the pantheon of pro wrestling. This was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Raise the arm. Almas says, no, that arm is fucked, mate. Raise the other arm.
All the heart that you want, Johnny Gargano, but you will not have the NXT Championship yet. Andrade's reign will continue only as far as New Orleans, when he will get his head squarely kicked off of its shoulders by Aleister Black. Now, of course, Malachi Black.
Yep. And that was a good match. That was a good match, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it helped what it was around.
Yeah.
And especially, it's weird. I don't think that match was helped by this match.
I agree.
A performer builds up a reputation for having great matches, and then everyone expects them to always be at that level. Andrade, for as good as he is, Gargano, for as good as he is, neither man has had a match better than this in either man's career. Like, I think this is the best match they've both done. I know there's people that prefer Gargano and Adam Cole.
Yeah,
there's
I'm one of those.
Gargano and Ciampa. There's people that prefer Andrade and, well, no, probably not, because they didn't really use him properly. I was going to say Andrade and Mysterio, but probably not.
Cole versus Gargano 2 out of 3 falls is one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, maybe it will come up in a watch along. But the question now goes to you,
our viewers. They're watching this. You will decide our next match, and I'm saying this now. Any promotion as we've done. We've done a WWE match. We've done NXT. If you want us to do WCW, if you want us to do TNA, she can't say no. If you want us to do an AEW match, we'll do AEW. If you want us to do a New Japan match, we'll do New Japan. If you want us to do NWA, we'll do it.
If you people make me watch Orange Bleeding Cassidy, we're gonna have to age restrict the next Steelchair. The Steelchair that we do it on.
We will. I think what we'll end up doing, and I think you would approve, if we do an AEW match, I think one of the first few that we do, and it would be absolutely brilliant to go for anyway, is Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson at Grand Slam. Yeah, because that was incredible.
We can go for that one. Let's see what the fans say. But we are approaching 1 hour and 54 minutes. We have gone through the wrestling news. It is SummerSlam Eve. So to everyone watching at home.
Oh, wait. There he is. Oh, there's the return.
There we go. I was hoping we could gloss over this, but no.
Goldie's favorite boy.
The Black Heart of NXT is back. And he strikes Gargano with a crutch.
Beautiful strike as well. Beautiful strike. And I love the fact as well, he wears
I
a
didn't
black
want
and
to
gold
remember
knee.
that bit. It's made me sad now. But I remember SummerSlam is tomorrow, and I'm happy once again. So, everyone, I hope you all enjoy SummerSlam. Reece, you'll be on the watch along, I do believe. I'll be doing my usual, so I won't be
I'll
around.
be doing I'll be doing two things actually, because there's one thing I don't want to miss.
I'll let you explain that in a moment. But yep, to everyone watching SummerSlam, hopefully it's a good show. Hopefully it delivers and over delivers. It'd be fantastic for the main roster to continue what I think's been a pretty good run for pay-per-views this year, or premium live events, if you want to call them that. Yep, get your suggestions in for what match we live com next. I'm not going to say which week we will do that in because it took us long enough to get to this one. But Reece, I will let you do the honors.
Absolutely. So the SummerSlam watch along is tomorrow. But also, if you are an AEW fan, we are all inclusive during this only. It will only be during this. I will do a side cover as well of Punk versus Starks as a one-off. It will not be the full collision. I'm not going to do the full thing, but I will do Punk versus Starks as a side to the main card. But additionally, what we also will be doing. You know what? You can just watch it back. My favourite person in the world. Hello, Maisie. Hello. One thing I'd like to say as well is for the first of all, it's still good to see it either way. We do have the watch along tomorrow. We do have my GM stream after I've finished working tomorrow because I'm doing some overtime because I'm just a good person. Obviously on Sunday we'll have the G1 as well, the last of the G1 block match. Probably do a review show instead of a watch along. I'll just review both final blocks of A and B, C and D. C and D is A and B is tomorrow, C and D is on Sunday, and then obviously the main matches for that kick off next week. You'll be at the game. Oh yes, you are. Miami versus Wolves. Yeah. So you can see Rasmus Holland live, you jammy bitch. I'm so jealous. And I say that with love. Right. But we have the streams up tomorrow. We have the content going. The weekly Steelchair as the Miami versus Lon. Sorry, when's the Wolves one? That's coming up soon anyway. French teams. I just don't like French. All right, I just don't like French teams. Both the national team and the clubs. That's how you know I'm not keeping up with pre-season. I can barely remember. 1:45, so just after I finish work. Lovely. Anyway, we are live again tomorrow, twice. In the afternoon, probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock for the IGM stream, which will tie into SummerSlam. And the SummerSlam watch along starts at, the main show starts at 1, so we'll be live at 12:30. And I have guests, by the way, so that'll be good. And then after that, we'll be live on Sunday for the G1 review stream. And then we'll see what happens after that. We'll find out. But my lovely humans, thank you very much for watching. My fantastic co-host, thank you very much. I have also been invited to another stream, which is football related, Football Power Hour. Check that out. Great content, all inclusive. But in the meantime, this has been the weekly Steelchair. Signing off. We never stop. Neither does professional wrestling. Thank you. Have a good night.